Expand.
Right. Let's say you start your life off as a orphan whose parents attempted to sell you into slavery, and then your parents died before that was able to happen. And you spent the first 5 years of your life struggling to really get anything and do anything. And then you are taken away, given to a nice family, in a first world country, and you get to have a good education. And though you don't really get anywhere far in your career, at the end of the day, on the day you die, even though you are technically dying alone, because you never married, you never had kids of your own, at the very least, you were able to have a life that was more enjoyable than the one that you initially set up to. You started out basically in a negative position, but you end life in a neutral position. You have done nothing, but your life has improved. Not really for anything you yourself have done, but more that you never gave into that sort of despair. You never took the easy way out. Um, you never, you never achieved anything great. Perhaps you'll have nieces and nephews who call you the cool uncle or auntie when they come over to visit, maybe once a year. Um, Maybe that. But you yourself haven't achieved anything. You've neither perpetuated your own genetics, you never perpetuated your own culture. You're completely removed from the culture you were born in. Your genetic line effectively has died with you. But because you started out in such a bad position, to end in a relatively neutral position is an accomplishment.
So so that's the thing, right? Can you be happy without having achieved anything? But then we have to discuss what is the boundary of an achievement.
An achievement is something that you have done with your own power. That's why that example is so important, because it's not, you didn't work yourself up to free yourself from the bad position you were born into. Instead, someone reached out, pulled you up,
Yeah.
and
But
then
in
you just
that
kind of got stuck at
case,
that base.
like it feels like, you know, a small achievement to you might not be an achievement to someone else, but it's still an achievement to you.
Because it's kind of like relative. That's what I was just saying, right? At the
Yeah.
boundary of achievement, like relative achievement. Oh, what is an achievement to this person? You know,
Maybe
because
their achievement was being able to get in a better place.
Their achievement was
So
actually
they
getting to live past the age of 10,
exactly. So at that point, they've achieved in life.
which therefore,
it's funny, right? Because if we were to give achievements a very low bar here, like very low boundary, then technically living when you live life, okay, assuming you live to like the age of 50 or six, sorry, the age of 30 minimum, okay, it's very hard to live through life without having achieved anything, you know?
Yeah.
well, I mean,
I
okay,
mean,
how
just
about
getting an education is an achievement.
I was gonna say the only thing I can think of therefore is the trust fund babies,
Oh,
because they're given everything on a silver platter, so they don't have to do anything.
Mm.
oh, right.
But
No,
even
I
then,
understand that.
them actually probably turning up to a meeting on time.
Yeah. I think it's easier for someone who is in a lower position to achieve something. Well, to achieve something that is considered an achievement to them, because I think the bar is a lot lower. Whereas when you're given everything, it's a little bit harder to achieve something.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, the opposite is also true. So like at that point, it's like it is very hard to get like to just do life without having an achievement.
Yeah, because it's kind of like saying you spend your entire life basically stationary, you know,
Yeah. If
not
you've done anything,
mind
then
them
you
basically.
must have achieved something,
Yeah.
even if it
But
doesn't feel like an achievement to you.
so now that we discussed achievements on the technicality, let's assume that the achievements are around mid-level. So we're talking what's like a mid-level achievement? Um, I guess completing your education. So a minimum completing like your GCSEs or A levels or something. Um, you know, would a person still be able to be happy if they didn't achieve anything of that kind of level? So not completing an education, not propagating their bloodline genetics, not teaching anyone anything, that kind of stuff. Just sort of existing and
Yeah, I
but still
mean,
able to sustain themselves.
yeah. So basically, someone who's done so much. I would say someone who might have not achieved as much would be someone who's, in prison. They've done a bunch of like really shit things.
Yeah, a criminal. Yeah.
Yeah, they've landed themselves in so many different bad opportunities. I can. I think, yeah. I think there you can definitely have someone who, doesn't achieve anything, and at that point, I guess, yeah, if you're in that situation and you live and die in that sort of situation where you are like branded as a social failure and an ethical failure, then I guess at that point, then yeah, you wouldn't be happy though. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
happy,
Mm.
which is where that comes to it. So I feel like you have to be happy. I guess you would have to achieve something, wouldn't you?
I think as well, in order to even be in that kind of situation, but still be somehow find happiness, you had to be kind of wired different mentally as well.
Yeah, you can't be normal.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. What about you, Wilfred? What are you thinking?
I really do think happiness is just like, I think happiness is, to be honest, possible, even if you don't think you've achieved anything. Because I think a lot of the time, people, when they say they haven't achieved
There's
anything,
a
they
lot of
have.
people, yeah, they have.
It's like asking me, does reality exist? The answer is, of course, well, duh. Why? Just walk into a wall. You'll see what I mean.
So you're making the same argument for happiness in that even if you haven't achieved anything, you can still be
So
happy.
he's gonna go back into the gun argument.
No, 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 no. Wait. No, what I was gonna say is, of you can be happy even if you don't feel like you've achieved something. But if you are happy, you must have achieved something. If we're going to take my most best case scenario where you started out with a negative and only ended up with nothing, therefore you've achieved something because you didn't screw it up getting to the nothing
Mhm.
state, even though everything was handed to you.
And then, so what if you started in the negative and instead of going to a neutral position, you're still in the negative?
Well, that depends. Are you in a less negative position? Because there's a difference between -1,000,000 and -2.
Okay, I see. So, same. I know it doesn't help a lot, but yeah, same. You're basically in the same starting position
Yeah.
as you were in the
Actually,
end.
I think I should just do like recordings like this. But I've got League on the foreground. This is us having like an intellectual conversation.
Unironically, it's not a bad idea because League of
Yeah.
Legends is very much of an ADHD game. So anyone who's like, who gets distracted easily, they just look at the League game and they're listening to like Reddit AI bots speaking in the background. You know what I mean?
Oh my
It's
And
literally
god.
that
then
kind of
right
video
in the corner
format.
you have that like what's
Subway
that thing?
Surfers.
Yeah, somebody.
Actually, I'm gonna actually hold on. My white shirt just finished washing. I'm gonna quickly hang them up on my radiator.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a
Oh, good,
second.
oh, good. I'm gonna ping Buttercup that she's missing out because she would love to be a part of this, unironically.
Oh shit.
Buttercup, Buttercup.
Hang up my white shirt, and I love one. And we smell like more.
Hang up the white shirts in preparation for his interviews. Interviews.
Oh, how the fuck did I accidentally type 99999?
Yeah, I feel like that's something on Excel, unironically. That's like an Excel thing. Alright, so let's see what other stuff there is. Does the law of attraction exist? Let's listen to that. Let's meet up with this. Law of attraction.
In a social sense?
So, the law of attraction is a universal principle that states you will attract into your life whatever you focus on. So, whatever you give your energy and attention to is
Oh.
what will come back to you.
I mean, yeah.
So if I told myself that I want to be rich and I put all my effort to try and be, well, sorry, I want to be a billionaire. I put all my effort to try and
Yeah,
be a
because you're putting your
billionaire.
effort into it, right?
So you think that with enough effort,
But I feel at the same time that's like, I feel that's like kind of like a 50-50, right?
I think being a billionaire is very difficult, even if you put a
Yeah,
lot
being
of
a
effort into it.
billionaire
Right?
is ridiculous.
Yeah, because
But
because at the
to
same time it's about luck.
trying to achieve to be somewhat wealthy, I feel like it's a lot more manageable, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not in
So
this economy, but
so in terms of the law of attraction, then so your kind of opinion on here is the law of attraction would apply to goals that are that
yeah,
are
because
more
the whole
reachable.
point is that you're putting in the effort. It depends on how you're putting the effort in though.
Hmm.
Because like if your whole thing is I want to get rich but I'm not doing anything about it, or I'm not doing enough like research into how to become rich, or trying to gamble my way into getting rich, then that's not gonna work, I feel, right?
Yeah. So it's also like the law of attraction is that yes you put whatever you put your effort into, whatever you put your focus into, but you also gotta focus on what you're putting your effort into and how you're putting in
Yeah.
the effort, how you're applying it. Yeah. I think it still applies though. I would say like the self reflection process and all that. I
Yeah.
think it definitely still
I mean,
applies.
like obviously get the whole getting rich is a lot harder,
Yeah.
but like if we're talking about much more like basic shit, like uh say I suddenly want to become like a great musician or whatever. If I put a lot of
Oh.
effort into it,
Oh.
then I
Okay.
feel like I'll at least get somewhere where I'm proud of what I've been able to achieve, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
all the effort into it.
Yeah, I see. I actually see what you mean. Yeah, I think music is definitely one of those. Is definitely one of those things that you like. Even drawing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're talking about skills to learn and getting really proficient at.
Yeah. Because obviously, getting rich, yes, it has an element of skill to it, but it also has an element of like gambling, you know?
Yeah, like luck, RNG.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Opportunities. Whether
Yeah.
the
I mean,
opportunities are
obviously,
there or
it's a lot
not.
easier to get to, you know, wish to be rich when you're in a better like situation, like life wise. It's a lot harder when you've got a bunch of problems.
Hmm.
So, you know, I
Especially
feel
when we're
like
talking about being rich as well. There's the movie Parasite. And
yeah.
yeah, have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't. Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it too much. I'm not going to spoil that too much, but there's a theme in that movie about can you really make it out of a life of poverty into a life of richness? Like, is it really, really possible? You know, and some people they would say that they're quite pessimistic about it. It's and like you said, it's because it's too much. It's too based on RNG. It's too based on like it's too much based on other people,
Mm.
and not purely something of your own skill. It's like because the character basically wants to buy like a property that's really expensive in the movie. Like
Yeah.
he wants to buy it, but because it's so expensive, it's even no matter how hard he tries, it's like oh I can't do it. That kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
like and so like some people they definitely have a very pessimistic approach towards it. I would say I'm the same. Like you definitely can't achieve being a billionaire. You can maybe do
Yeah.
it with being a
But
millionaire
hey,
though.
there's also, if you know how to get rich,
Yeah,
uh
that is true.
like
Methodology.
that also helps a lot. Have you seen that like video of that guy who was like I'm gonna get like like I think he's like a millionaire or something like that, and he was like I'm gonna show you that it's like easy to get rich, and he tried to like do this whole like social experiment thing, but it's
Mm.
like the stuff that he did is like stuff that like a normal regular person wouldn't know about. So I feel like even then there's still like an element of like skill to it,
Yeah, that
but
is
with
true.
obviously with that stuff, as much as there is an element of like skill, obviously shitty circumstances like bad luck does not help. I mean, hey, I think of it this way. I mean, one way to get money, become a landlord, right? And it's
Yeah.
everything is all all going well and everything. Suddenly, wow, would you look at that fucking natural disaster? Didn't know that was coming. The property area was great as well.
Oh yeah, and then
Suddenly
you
at
don't
that
get any
point,
income
you're
anymore.
not gonna get any income.
Yeah.
So it's like you just gotta hope for the best, You're gonna hope nothing happens and you're just able to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously things happen in life. So,
Yeah. So it's like the law of attraction is definitely there, but it's not like it's not a
it's not an
principle that will
100%.
happen always.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
It's an
certain.
it's an element, but it's not the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very nice. I'm liking this discussion. I like it. Very nice. I actually completely agree with your opinion on this one. So, okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Question 37. Have gadgets and apps taken away emotions?
Oh.
Go on. Go on, Mr. Full Brain Cells. Go on.
So, as someone who clearly uses the computer a lot, my phone a lot, goes on a bunch of used to go on a bunch of social media apps and stuff. Okay, I'll give two answers: a serious one and a joke one. And I'll start with the joke one first, because I have watched so much brain rot content and interacted so much with it. I am fairly certain that apart from joy and happiness, I know no other I know no other deeper level of emotion. Things like sadness, things like actual sadness, actual depression. You know what I'm talking about. The kind of depression that you need to be medicated for. I know nothing about things about doing something for a cause. Nothing about, because I am just that brain rotted. Ho. I've been married not really long time ago. Okay, now a
Wait,
serious.
my brain forgot. Wait, what were we discussing?
Have gadgets and apps taken away emotions? Okay.
Have apps taken away emotions?
Yeah, gadgets and apps.
No. For emotions?
Yeah,
No.
I think to an extent, there's
I
definitely
think
been some
if
desensitization.
there is no, I think it's not emotion. It hasn't taken away emotion. It's taken away socialization.
Yeah, there you go. That's
There's a
much
difference.
better. Yeah, 100%.
But it's definitely kept emotions. I mean, hey, if you think about it this way, there's a lot of people that watch like content creators, and like they watch them because it makes them happier and it makes them feel safer. So to be
Yeah.
it like does stuff to your emotions, I would argue sometimes it's a good thing. It makes you happier,
Mm-hmm. So in a sense, because it takes away socialization, the manifestation of external emotions becomes a little bit more difficult. The way that people express themselves, because
Mhm.
normally when you don't socialize that much, you try to express yourself with someone else, it can be a bit more difficult. Because socially you're more used to your own bubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in that case this statement could apply. Well, the question in terms of agreement could apply, that it takes away external manifestation of emotions if you use them too much. But then if as in like use them for like so rather if you use them as a way to encourage yourself to be in your own bubble and away from other people for too much and too long, then that can
Yeah.
happen. But in terms of just the statement itself, without those specificities, and no, it doesn't take away emotion. It might take away. It might make you less sensitive to certain things, but overall, not taking them away fully.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a prime example of someone who actually became more emotional as he watched more, as he uses gadgets and apps more, because, you know, I could literally be like an NPC right now, who barely expresses himself, but then all of a sudden, I look at all this brain rot content, I watch so much cage roll, screaming like a rat, and all of a sudden I am more expressive than ever.
Yeah.
I literally act like a rat
think
in real life
yeah.
for people.
I think to say it like reduces emotions and stuff like that is a complete lie.
Yeah.
I
Especially if it
reckon
It
makes you more
depends
happy.
what you're watching and what you're consuming,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I think the internet hasn't actually done anything to kill like the third space, so like outside of work and home, how you meet people.
Yeah.
I don't think the internet's done anything to that. I think just because the third space died, because basically our generation before us, ended up getting mostly helicopter parents, so they weren't allowed to go off, do their own thing, which caused a whole bunch
Mhm.
of developmental problems.
What are helicopter parents? Sorry.
Basically, they micromanage their children's lives.
Yeah.
Are a lot of parents like that though?
Yes, vast
Mm.
majority.
There are actually quite a vast majority that if you've noticed there's like it's either I've I'm not gonna like I'm gonna leave you to do everything by yourself or I manage your entire life. There's no
Yeah,
in between.
there's no in
Right.
between.
It's very rare to find a parent that's good at like doing both, which is obviously an issue in itself.
Because you had all these books that suggest, oh, this is how you should raise your kids, and the after effects of the boomers and their consequences in society have been severe. Basically, is what's happened.
Yeah.
Damn, that's fucked. Especially with all like those influences online. Like the more older generation who say like this is how you should be raising your kid to be successful, or like those rich people who talk about their methods of being successful, and so you have like all these different parents taking up their kid and being like, okay, you're gonna do this, 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 and this is gonna be your schedule, and
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
do them or you're gonna get
That's
pissed
what
on.
that's literally what's happened, and it's just had a negative effect on the kids, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly good for people, let's just say.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right. Oh, this one's a funny one. Does observation alter an event?
Yes, that is literally now scientifically proven.
Sorry, what did you say?
Unreality MC, unreality,
Oh,
unreality,
my
unreality,
bad.
unreality,
My
unreality,
brain don't work.
unreality, unreality MC. Do you think do you think observations alter an event?
Observations alter an event.
Yes.
In what context?
In what context? Wolfie, can you give a specific scenario? I think you might be better at giving an example than me in this.
Well, okay, I'm not going to say when the tree falls because when the tree falls, it still does make a sound. But if you're looking right, particles behave one way when no one's observing them, and they behave another when they do. They
This
just
is
do
like
this.
what the fuck is it called? Whatever the fuck cat.
Schrodinger's cat.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
In that context, scientifically proven. So,
I mean,
so
people's perception of reality can affect reality, not to the degree that for example, the illusion of we have food whilst you're starving to death will cause you to get to all of a sudden magic up some food. But like, there are
Or
some
would
weird
you
things that can happen.
what I did when I was so brain rotted and brain dead that I was eating food in Minecraft and it was filling me up in real life
Yeah, no,
that's
that's just
because
crazy, dude.
I'd like somehow convinced my brain that I was actually eating.
yeah, that's called a placebo. Those do exist. Your body can and does occasionally just fix itself because it thinks it's been fixed.
Okay, all right. I have a perfect example of observation affecting reality without having to resort to quantum mechanics. Okay, all right. So, a streamer streams. Okay, the event is them streaming. Okay, and just yapping to themselves.
Yeah.
But and that's the event. But it can change depending on whether they get how many people observe them or not. If they get enough observers, okay, then that event can change where they either stream for longer or they just stop.
That is
I
technically
think
one way.
I think that is one way of explaining it. I think that's one. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's one way. It's one way. Or like, let's see, or like a musician busking. That's an event. Um, and again, same thing. They can same thing. Them the quality of their event, the quality of their singing can sometimes improve depending on how many people observe them. And if there's no one
Yeah.
observing them, then they just kind of get quieter and quieter and
Just
more
like
awkward.
how it can happen the other way around if a person has stage fright, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. What is infinity?
Yes. It's kind of like it's like
I can't lie, that's such a dead ass question. I don't like it. Alright, I think I am done with philosophical questions. Do you guys ever have any philosophical questions you might want to suggest? Because this list kind of sucks now. Oh, here's a good one. Is it more important to be liked or respected?
Liked.
You think it's
depends.
more important to be liked?
Like I
Yeah, it
said,
depends on it depends on what your role is as a person.
Okay. And Wolfie, you said depends, right?
I was gonna say, um, somebody who plies the oldest trade in human existence can be well liked and therefore is very popular, therefore earns a lot of money. But a scientist who didn't actually, never mind, yeah, you're better off being liked. I was going to say every scientist
Yeah.
who's just like respectable because he just says he or she just says the results they get. Um, yeah, well, they aren't. They're actually they keep getting cancelled, and they keep losing stuff
Yeah, just
because
being liked.
it's
Being
just
liked is
better.
just generally a good thing.
In our
It
current
doesn't matter the situation
position,
you are in.
I was gonna say with everything as it is right now,
It's
yes.
yeah. I mean, you're forgetting. We are literally like we are social creatures. Being
No, because
liked
I would
is like
argue
so
it wasn't.
important.
I was gonna say I'd argue it wasn't always the case. Like you go back like 100 years, especially
Yeah,
in like the Western world, it was better off to be respected. But that's because what we determined is more
yeah, but
important has changed.
yeah. I mean, society has changed. For us to compare ourselves to like how many years back doesn't make any like realistic sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Is it more important to be liked or respected? Because I know with my dad, he would say it's more important to be respected. And I think there's definitely a social element in society nowadays where you know how people are flinging the word based around, where if you do something that is respectable, I guess, but different, then it's based. And I would assume that that's them having a high level of respect towards you. But really, if what you're doing, but really does, but in that case, though, respect and likability can sometimes go hand in hand together. But now, if it's one or the other, respect or liked, I respect Putin, but I don't like him. I respect his methods. I respect that he is a decent leader to the Russians, but I do not like him. And a good portion of people in the world do not like him. You could say Pol Pot was respectable despite his atrocities. He was respectable for trying to find a better life for the Cambodians, but he was very far gone. You can say the same for the Austrian painter as well. I like how I said Austrian painter, and I said Pol Pot for the other one, even though they're both nearly as bad as each other. Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think it's better to be liked because surely when you are liked, it's because you have made actions that um, are genuinely more beneficial. Because sometimes, but then again, not really, because by being liked, it's too relative, right? If you're just going along with, because we're social creatures, if you're just going along with things that people have peer pressured into you, for example, you bully someone because just so that these other people can like you, then your likability overall goes up because the majority are peer pressuring you to bully this one person. But then, like no, in terms of respect, do they respect you or not? I and what you've done is wrong. Like overall, it's wrong. So that's a hard question.
Yeah.
I'd say right now, considering how society works with social media, with cancel culture, I'd say I would say being respected isn't a positive thing. Being liked is, because that way you can't just lose your job because you accidentally said something.
True. Because like Jordan Peterson, for example, was
Oh God, Monster
respected, but
Man.
then a bunch of people didn't like him. I actually don't know. I should understand the reason why they didn't like him. I think they said he was like a
TLDR,
misogynist or something.
issue I can't talk about. TLDR, we can't talk about this issue.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah. He did do something controversial at one point.
Hmm.
Well, not controversial by my or Wolford standards, but
Oh yeah, don't lump
did
me
do
in with
something
you.
controversial.
Hey guys, don't lump me in with him. Don't lump me in with him. Don't lump me in
Don't be
with him.
alright with me. Don't be alright with me now.
Sorry, Wolford. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put my personal opinion into this, okay, because I
Here
can't
we
be
go.
asked with I can't be asked with trying to weigh the cons and pros of this because I think it's a much deeper question because it's too relative, right? There's too many scenarios that can go wrong. To me, I'd say respected. I would rather be respected than be liked, personally. I think maybe it's a pride thing as well, and a thing about integrity with me as a person. Um, even though I've done plenty of hypocritical shit, that would contradict my statement right now. But yeah,
Same.
my ideal is to be respected. That's what's more important to me. If I had to choose between one or the other, maybe
The
it's my dad's
Asian
influence.
genes hitting hard.
Yeah, Asian genes. I think it's definitely my dad's influence as well because my dad literally told me at one point that um, he didn't exactly say this, but he kind of did. He kind of implied that basically, um, if I don't get if I don't get rich in the future, okay, if I don't get rich in the future, then I have to get a job that is well respected. And the jobs involved are like lawyer, being a lawyer. Even though I think he has no idea what being a lawyer is like, because you can be easily disrespected for being a lawyer depending what you do. But being a lawyer, doctor, the trio E without the
The
E
trio,
anyway.
the
Um,
trio.
what was it? At one point, he even suggested being an officer as well, or being a teacher. You know, those are like very respectable careers to go for, and that is in the case that I am not able to become rich. Yeah. Now this is going to be me projecting a little bit. He did say that if I can't do any of those things, then I'm basically worthless. You know, but it is what it is, right? He's comparing me to my half siblings. You know, so and I think that's for me because of that, and you know how I've been brought up that being respected is more important to me. Um, it goes more in line with my pride as a person as well. I'm very proud. I'm too proud. I'd rather instead of someone just liking me, I'd rather they, I'd rather they, what do you call it?
Respected you.
To the point of reverence, I guess. Yeah, respecting me to the point of reverence, as in like what I say, the words that come out of my mouth, they actually tune in and focus on what I'm saying. Not it doesn't have to be obviously like, oh, this guy's a prophet. I had to record everything he's saying, the photographic memory levels of memory, um, but just enough to have a think about it, you know. But obviously, I'm too brain rotted, so whatever respect I get in the future, probably not gonna come. But you know, um, but,
Fucking hell.
I
but
wouldn't be
it
too
depends,
so
right?
sure.
Of
I
course,
wouldn't be so
it can
sure, Hydro.
change. So now for you guys, is it more important to be liked or respected
Like,
personally?
personally,
You,
like
Liked.
yeah.
respected.
Yeah,
Like
you
personally,
you personally
personally,
respected.
it's respected. If you live in this, if you live, as we live in a society, it's not that.
Yeah, so like so it's kind of like what gives you, I guess in this case, what gives you
What
a
would
more
make you
high
feel better?
of an emotion? What makes you feel better? Exactly. Yeah, I don't know why I said more
Yeah.
high of emotion. What kind of fucking thing am I cooking in my head there?
I think
um,
for me personally, being liked is better because
mhm.
I feel like when it's with you being like liked by another person, it's kind of like you're on equal standing with them. It doesn't feel like there's this weird power balance thing.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
see what you
being
mean by that.
respected would be like. But obviously, I feel like it depends on the circumstances, and who you are around. but I like for me, I personally prefer being around just like friends and stuff like that. And like even if it was to be like a workplace, I would prefer to be with someone like where I can like be friendly with them and that sort of thing. I wouldn't want like kind of like you have to respect me kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, there are some examples I'm thinking of in my head, trying to contradict what you say, but they're too extreme and they don't make any sense. So, so I would say that what you said is very valid. It's very valid. Yeah, because I guess for me, like as much as being liked is really nice as well. I'm still the type of person that places more emphasis on respect. For sure.
Mhm.
It's just, I think it's just like different ways of thinking, right?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with either way of thinking.
It's
For
just
sure.
it depends the certain type of circumstance that you're in and what you feel more comfortable with, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Wilfred said, right? Being respected for some people can feel very good. But
Yeah.
then by the standards of today's
Mm.
society, the situation that us as a people have put ourselves in now, you try to say something that is to you feels respectable, and to a lot of people they might respect you for it, but then you just get cancelled into the ground. I mean, look what happened to Jordan
Exactly.
Peterson, for example, and
I'm
even to
not.
an
I'm not saying
and to
Jordan
an
Peterson is an
extent,
example. I'm not saying he is an example, Your Honor.
and to an extent okay, this is gonna be very far fetched, by the way. To an extent, Andrew Tate. Okay, Andrew Tate. So many people have respected him for the stuff that he's said, and he has been completely ran into the ground.
Yeah.
His entire presence online has completely faded into like non-existence. Even though like obviously we sort of talk about him and stuff, but new content about him completely non-existent now at this point. Okay. Yeah, yeah. What is this one? Oh god, guys. Oh god.
Oh no,
No.
why are you saying
Oh.
that?
Let's ask this to a bunch of young 20 something year olds, yeah? How do you know if you love someone enough to marry them?
I don't know.
Yeah. Bro's like, I can't be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's just literally, I don't know, bro. I've never been on a date before. Like, huh? How I failed at the first hurdle of this conversation.
Wait, so repeat what the question is?
How do you know if you love someone enough to marry them?
Um,
Oh my
I
god,
feel
we actually
like
need to get back up on
it's
here.
yeah. This
Sorry,
is
go
kind
on.
of Duma. This is a Duma question for us, guys. This is a Duma question for us. I think for that one, like it's what am I gonna say here?
Waiting for the
I
abomination.
feel like yeah. No, I mean I feel like you've spent a long time with them, and you really enjoy their presence, and they really enjoy your presence, and it's gotten to the point where you're like thinking about wanting to be with each other forever, and it feels like you want to live a life that is permanently with them. I feel like at that point, then yeah, you might start thinking about it. Of course, it depends on the person. Um, but if you feel like you want to live the rest of your life with them, then you know, think about it.
So sort of you're in a relationship with someone, and you're sleeping together or whatever, and then
Yeah,
one day you wake up and you're like, hey yo, I wouldn't mind doing this for the rest of my life.
yeah. But I feel like obviously not like we're not like 3 months in and it's like I want to marry you because that's crazy.
Mhm.
And that's insane.
There are some people who have done that though, for
I know there
sure.
are some people that have
Yeah,
done that.
Actual nutcases.
I mean, hey, if you're really into each other and you're confident that you want to be with each other, then
Mhm.
you know, you do you. But I feel like for the average person, if you spent like a long while with them and you want to spend an even longer while with them, i.e., permanent life with them, then hey, why not?
Actually, no, I lost someone after marrying them. Very valid answer from Unreality. Have I called you? Have I called you your own
Yes,
multiple times? I feel like I haven't. I haven't called myself out on it as well, so it's even worse.
at least
Okay.
twice. At least
Oh
twice.
god. All right.
It's like it's. I like to point out the recording's been going on for like nearly 3 hours. So I don't think anyone's gonna
Oh,
find
man.
it.
Oh yeah, true. It's just like a streaming clip out there, and like
Yeah.
3 hours in today's society with that low of attention span, no one's gonna watch.
I was gonna say it was definitely after my first game, so no one's gonna see it.
Nah, but you can just clip it though. To be fair, just like I mean,
I
you
am
can
I
say
am not
3 hours
sitting
of clips.
down and listening to 3.5 hours of our collective brainwash
No,
to
not
edit
brainwash.
out
Brain
whatever
cell
your fuck
discussion.
ups.
I'm for is the degenerate brains.
You just
I
did
just
it again!
Oh my god, I need to be taken round to the shed and shot, man. That is
Ironically, this is why I just wanted to do the stream with Unreality.
my bad boss man. My bad boss man.